Profe Sury.
Profe Sury.
Yeah.
Why
Yes.
did you choose that name?
I'm a professor in the making. Like, my mission is to reform the systems of education, and while doing that, I'm working to be a professor. And I happen to speak Spanish. And one of the main things I want for my students is to be immersed in the culture. So that's how I got Profe Suri, put it together.
How did you get your start in experiencing like Spanish speaking countries?
So I went to a bilingual school in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And then from there, I was just like inspired to continue speaking Spanish and keeping it at the tip of my tongue. So I always vowed to immerse myself in different cultures and or travel and or teach in Spanish speaking communities so that I can retain the knowledge. Um, then one day during quarantine, I got fed up with the system of United States. I bought a one-way ticket and never looked back.
Where have you been in terms of Spanish speaking countries?
So my first destination was Costa Rica. I've been to the Dominican Republic, Panama. I've been to Honduras, Nicaragua. I've been to Guatemala and Mexico. Oh, and last year I went to Colombia.
Do you have a particular favorite place out of all of those countries you name?
I will say like my top two favorite places would be Guatemala and Mexico, just because the country is diverse. Like you get a little bit of everything. So you get like luxurious life, you get the campo where people are still farming and working the salt mines, you'll get the beach, you'll get the lakes, you'll get vacation. You'll get like cold Christmas weather. Yeah, it's a good mixture of everything on top of the cultural richness.
What are the do's, some of the do's, basic do's and don'ts of traveling throughout Central and South America?
Well, my number one thing is if you can survive the hood, you can survive anywhere on earth because I swear you fight for your life every single day in the hood. And if you got to do that, like, for survival mechanism, like anywhere else is, yeah, it doesn't even compare. Like, I think when I was going to Guatemala, I would just like lay out on the lake. I wouldn't even care to see who passed by me. Sometimes I would take a nap and wake up, all my things would be intact. Like, that's the kind of peace it is overseas in Mexico and in Guatemala, but in the States, like I'm looking over my shoulder. Keep your common sense for sure,
Mm-hmm.
because there are a lot of people that go over and think that the people there are like super super sweet and super super kind, that they won't rob you for anything you have, which 9 times out of 10, like, that's incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes people are just waiting for their opportunity. So like cell phones, right? A lot of them don't have the kind of access to the technology that we do.
Mm-hmm.
So don't walk outside with your phone up like a lost traveler, like, oh, like, what is this? Stuff like that. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your money tucked away. Look up. Know where you
So
definitely know
like,
where you're going. Some people think like, oh, well, just because I'm in a different country, like they don't have to keep up with like the same kind of boundaries or awareness as if they weren't visiting a new place. You know what I'm saying? Because
mm-hmm.
if I were to go to a hood that I'm not from, like Overbrook or something like that, I'd be there with a purpose. I'm not just out there. You see what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
that's putting yourself in a harmful situation. But then two is just like knowing that because I'm not from here, like, what is the culture like? How do I adapt to it? How do I fit in and not stand out?
What is the program that you're trying to implement in Mexico?
So the name of my business program is called the Explore program. And so it's an international internship program where I take interns from the United States, and trip lead in places like Oaxaca, Mexico, and then hopefully in the future I'll be expanding it to a few other cities. But the purpose is for all of these interns to help me with my brand voice and brand image and social media presence. And in return, they'd be walking away with a creative portfolio, practical job skills, and enhanced Spanish proficiency. At the end of the program, the four interns with the most outstanding work, like via content creation or marketing or, voice image and
Mm-hmm.
brand and things of that nature, if I'm, just wowed away from their work, they leave with $1,000 scholarship for college books.
How you said, is it just four interns, or is it in total? Is it just four that you plan to take?
So I am taking 6 interns, and then 4 of them will earn the scholarship, and that's only because not all of my interns are in college. Some of them are just content creators, some of them work, just regular 9 to 5 jobs and are just looking for a new avenue for expression and creativity.
Is there an age limit for your interns?
Yes, I'm seeking interns ages 17 through 30. Those are the only ages that I service.
Do they require any experience with Spanish at all to thrive in these conditions?
Actually, they don't require any experience with Spanish at all. 3 months before we on board and travel to Mexico, we will be meeting up and doing Spanish lessons with me. 5 out of 6 interns were former students, so I have taught them Spanish at some point in time.
Mm-hmm.
However, they do need a refresher because it's in the culture. You know what I'm saying? You could practice a language for years and then never become fluent because you haven't immersed yourself into it. So it's fine that they don't know any Spanish. I'll be teaching them Spanish. We'll be learning together. And then it really picks up as soon as we go abroad.
Why Oaxaca?
Why Oaxaca? uh, it's a large Black expat community out there. I even ran into a Howard student while I was out there just living. So it's just people are coming to that area.
Mm-hmm.
It's an area where I feel safe because the community that is there is very family oriented, children oriented, having great infrastructure for families, for events. There's always a parade. You just walk outside and people are dancing in the street with masks or candy, and you're like, oh, what's this festivity about?
Mm.
I feel absolutely safe at all times of the day. Families will go to the park and stay out there with their children eating elote or helado until 2, 3 in the morning, just kicking it, chilling. You know what I'm saying? So it's not too many places in the world that exist like that, where everybody is willing to speak up if something happens, but nothing happens. Everybody is pretty much happy over there, enjoying their best life.
Okay. So, Profe Sury, how do people get in contact with you?
Yep, you can go find me on TikTok at Sury Explore, and you can click the link in my bio to find out more about my program.